Hi, I'm Marcus Trice, and I'm going to be doing a video for FTT 201 6586 Firearms Finishes and Engraving. I think this is one of my favorite classes. It's a week 7 assignment, and it is, unfortunately, it is a little one day behind. But the question is it's basically asking about how firearms are purpose-built, whether it's hunting, plinking, military service, home, or personal defense, etc. Thinking about one of your firearms and the purpose behind its overall use and design, now think back over all the different finishes options you have learned about in this course and respond to the following question. Is the finish that was used on your firearm a good option for its purpose? Let's see, if it was, what might have been an even better suited option, or one which you would have preferred? Or if not, what should have been a better choice, and why? Now investigate the purposes of repair and damage to both finish types. Do they need to be completely refinished, or can they be effectively touched up? Considering the purpose of the firearm and how easy or likely it is to damage the finish during a regular intended use. And you know, these are all things that when you buy a firearm, they sit in your head. You know, when you look at a firearm, you're like, oh, okay. Well, I do, and I'm hoping that most people do. You know, is it going to be and I hate to use the term safe queen. If it's a safe queen and you're buying something beautiful that's blued, then sure. You know, you're really looking at the aesthetic of it, and you're not really looking at is it a purpose-driven firearm. And when it is a purpose-driven firearm, then you really are looking at the coating on it. How is it going to stand up to wear, and the elements. So, like, if you were to and I use this as an example because I'm fond of them, but like a Mini 14 or one of the Mossberg shotguns, for example, if you were to have that out in a marine environment, you may want to have the stainless steel firearm just for corrosion resistant. Doesn't mean to say it's going to be completely corrosion resistant, but to a certain degree. Or if you didn't do that, then you would go with a specialized coating. And that gets me into, why would you have a specialized coating? And usually you'd have a specialized coating for a firearm that would take quite a bit of abuse. And I have two examples here. One's probably a poor example, and then the other one I think is a good example for the most part. Both of these are an epoxy type of coating. One has worn off terribly, and the other one has worn pretty well. Both firearms here are duty use, were used either military or law enforcement. So when you have a firearm that is going to be used, say law enforcement, is going to be carried, you're going to want to have a durable finish on it so that it doesn't wear the finish off, either in a holster, going in and out of the holster, or just the holster wear itself. And then, believe it or not, the rear of the firearm rubbing up against things. And I actually have some where the finish on the rear of the firearm along in here has worn off. And that's a good telltale sign that it's, you know, was carried on a regular basis and it was open. So the two firearms that I'm going to use that have an epoxy finish, and I believe that the epoxy finishes are the way to go when you have a firearm that you're going to use on a daily basis, are going to see a lot of wear and tear, and that you want to protect the firearm from degrading, which would obviously affect you know, its reliability. So the one that I'm going to use here, now both of these guns are empty and there's nothing over here on this side of the home. This one is being my example of wanting to refinish a firearm. It's been taken apart a couple of times. But this is a CZ75BD, and this was obviously a carry firearm. And I am going to point it, and if you can see on here, I mean, the finish has worn off, and this is an epoxy finish, but it's seen a lot of, I mean, it looks like it's being abused, but I don't know. It's seen a lot, and I've seen worse. So, you know, would I reapply this epoxy? No. I would probably use a better epoxy. Can you patch this? No. You would really need to refinish the whole thing, and that's what my intentions are with this particular firearm. The next one is a Beretta, and I picked this one especially for you. I have to say that the Berettas really are a favorite of mine. This one's a Cougar. It's an 80-40. So these, when they came out, I was very, very fond of these because of the rotating barrel in there. I don't know, they didn't do very well. And then obviously the next step from here is the PX Storm. PX Storm. Well, anyway, this one has what's called a Buranton, Buranton finish. And this upon epoxy, the lower is anodized, and I really think anodizing, it's a pretty good coloring, I guess, if you want to call it. I don't know about a protectorant so much, but it's a coloring, and it's held up pretty well on here, actually. The frame's aluminum, and then obviously the slide is steel. But this is what actually has the Buranton coating on it. And so this particular coating is, it's being parkerized, and then it has the epoxy put on it, and then it's heated. And as you can see, this was a carry weapon, and it's actually held up very, very well. On some of the sharp edges, it has worn. There is a chip. It looks like some of the epoxy actually chipped off. But other than that, it's held up very, very well. So I would say this is definitely the way to go, and kudos to Beretta for making a firearm that's going to be carried and is going to be durable. Interest, I thought I would show another firearm with another coating that seems pretty durable. Falls in line with like the Glock slides. This is obviously a polymer. This is a Springfield, by the way, XD, made in Croatia. Anyway, and then it's sold as Springfield. So anyway, the Glock slides and like these slides have this almost like a Teflon coating on the top, and this one in particular, again this firearm is unloaded. This is it says that the metal parts are it's gone through a nitrating process called Tefna Plus. And it's characterized by extreme wear and corrosion resistance. It penetrates the metal, and treated parts have similar properties even below the surface to a certain depth. So obviously the treatment that they do on here, I think it probably etches itself into it, and it's like a Teflon based coating. So you've got Teflon etched into the metal, which offers some I would say obviously corrosion resistance, and then also wear resistance. So you really, I hate to say, but the polymers really are the way of the future here. When you look at all the different types of firearms, and these are handguns. I mean, there's obviously rifles too, but when you're looking at firearms and you're looking at corrosion resistance and you're looking at wear resistance, the polymer or the coating ways are the way to go. Thank you.